So I would like to share with you very quickly my cowgirl drawing that I did on a new surface, which is called Rising Museum Board. I think it's made by Legion. And I just wanted to talk through very quickly how I found this surface, because I think a lot of people like to try different surfaces. Some surfaces people use and, you know, they don't always work the same as other artists. Fabriano Artistico is one of those surfaces that I have never ever been able to get on with. So I have tended to stay away from the hot press papers, the smooth papers, and stuck with things like pastel mat and drafting film. However, I've tried this new surface, the Rising Museum Board, and I really, really liked it. And what I did was I chose a subject. I'll just focus this. I chose the subject, which is this cowgirl here. You can see it's quite a big piece. And I decided that I was going to draw this on the new surface that I hadn't ever used before. I find when I try a new surface, or when I use a new surface, it's much better for me to work on a full piece rather than doing swatches or, you know, having a little bit of sketch on something. I need to be able to do, try all of my techniques out, really get into what the paper or the surface can or can't do, which techniques that I can use for it. So can I use my slice tool or my X-Acto knife? Can I use indenting methods? Can I get light over dark? How many layers can I get on something? How does the colour stand up? When I layer onto the piece, what happens when it gets to the maximum amount of layers? Does the surface start pilling? Does it start to kind of lift? Can I use Scotch tape on it? You know, how is all that going to use? How is all that going to work? And I find I can't do that by just sort of scribbling a few squares down or going, how many layers can I get? Because it doesn't give you a really good indication of actually creating a drawing, you know, a full realistic drawing. It doesn't give you the capability of understanding how that surface is going to stand up. So that's what I did. So I created this enormous portrait. It's 16 by 20 inches and I threw everything I had at it and it's turned out, I'm so happy with it. I used a combination of polychromos pencils, of luminance pencils, the light fast pencils and some of the Derwent drawing pencils as well. This isn't a demo, so I'm not kind of demoing how I did it. It's more a case of just explaining how this paper has worked for me if you want to try this surface too. I found that the combination of those harder pencils like the polychromos and the softer ones like the luminance and the light fast worked really beautifully. And it wasn't a question of, oh, I had to have one down first and the other on the top. I could interchange them, so I could put my polychromos first, luminance on the top, luminance first, polychromos on the top. I did find that my light fast was better when I got a few layers in, and I could then go in with my light fast and sort of darken up and all of that kind of thing. Now, interestingly, when I was doing a debrief for my Ignite members, what was very apparent was that and this wasn't something that I did on purpose, but for each different section, so you've got the hat, the hair, the shirt, the skin tones, the saddlery, the jeans, and then the horse here. Each different section had approximately 4 different pencils that I used. So the hat, I had, I think, polychromos walnut brown, polychromos black, I had the Derwent drawing ivory black and the Derwent drawing chocolate. And then there was some like warm grey bits here and there. And that's kind of how I created the hat. So there was sort of like about 4 or 5 different colours in the hat. In the hair, again, I had brown ochre, luminance brown ochre 10%, luminance brown ochre 50%, luminance brown ochre. I had, I think I had butternut, luminance butternut, and I had the Mars Black light fast. So again, I had 5 pencils that I predominantly used for the hair. The skin tones here, I had to go really dark and I had to use some quite vibrant colours because they were sort of, you know, really strong oranges. So again, there's 4 or 5 colours in here, including the burnt ochre, probably something like a terracotta, and also the light fast Mars black as well. And I think probably some of the brown ochre in there too. The shirt, I used sky blue, I used indanthrene blue, I used ultramarine, I used, I think, light cobalt blue from the Luminance range, and then I used some warm greys in there as well, and then like a white over the top of that, or it might even be a cold grey. So again, you know, another sort of 4 or 5 colours in here. When it came to the skin tones, I found that my Luminance colours worked really, really well with the skin tones. Again, 4 or 5 colours in there. Burnt ochre 10%. I think we used some terracotta for these orangey bits. Mars black for this really dark area here. Venetian red for the little pinky bits in the hand. So again, 4 or 5 different colours in there. Maybe a little bit of buff titanium as well, just to lighten some of the areas. Saddlery, sanguine, so polychromos sanguine, polychromos burnt sienna, luminance. Oh no, I don't think I used a luminance. I think it was the light fast Mars black, polychromos caput mortem violet. Maybe some orange in there, some more orange in there, more orangey than the sanguine. And I kind of use that throughout the saddlery and here as well. And then the jeans, dark indigo black, dark indigo luminance, some indanthrene blue, some helio blue reddish, black. And then the horse's body down here, actually very similar colours that I used in the saddlery. So the colours weren't, I didn't use an enormous range of colours, but in the different sections, there were only about 4 or 5 different colours that I used. You know, once I kind of found my way and I decided, oh, this is what I'm going to be doing, I didn't use a huge array of colours in those different areas. I did find that for the skin tones, the Holbeins were really, really good at just smoothing. So I don't use Holbeins very often, but I found a couple that worked really well. I'm just trying to find the other one that I used. Is it that one? No, I can't find it. So it's the Jaune Brilliant, I can't speak French, but the 122. And I found this, it's sort of like a yellowy peachy colour. And I found just that over the top of my luminance, not pressing very hard, but it helped me to create that really nice smooth surface of the skin. Yeah, so I was really, really happy with the outcome of this. It took me a long time. It is a big piece. I concentrated mostly on getting the shadows and everything like that correct. I'll just zoom in a little bit into here. Oops. So we can see a little bit more of the shirt and everything. A lot of the texture that I've created in here was actually just done freehand. I did create a line art that was quite detailed and it just got too overwhelming that I just rubbed it out and I freehanded all of the texture instead. You know, I got my sort of basic lines of where everything was going, but it just was too much. There was too much detail in there, and it just gets, I just get completely overwhelmed by it. So it was a case of actually just making it up as I went along, and it's not accurate to the photograph, but it doesn't matter. And that's what I love about realism. You know, it's that process of creating something that has the look and feel, but you don't have to have it exactly the same, you know, as the photograph that you're creating. So anybody who's wanting to perhaps, you know, try the Legion Rising Museum board, you know, give it a go. It's a really, really nice surface. It works like a hot press. You work light to dark, and you can use indenting methods on it. If you put your waxy pencils in there, you can use your slice tool. You can use Scotch tape on it, but you have to be very careful and take away a lot of the stickiness before you use it, otherwise it can lift the surface, so you always test that. And it does take a lot of layers. So I'm really excited about this surface, and hopefully, you know, you will get some and try it out.